Church tomorrow sucks. Why does God need my help? He's so smart, he can do everything himself. I don't even need to go waste my time doing that. I could be out riding with the bros.
Hey, you!
What? What are you doing up there?
That's not what the Mass is about. My name's Jimmy Fondle, and I'm going to teach you about the Mass. First off, God doesn't need the Mass. We need the Mass. The Mass is not lacking. We are. As the youth would say, the Mass ain't whack, we're whack. What this means is that God doesn't need us, we need Him. In going to Mass, we find ourselves, and God as well. This leads us to a deeper understanding of God. Now, isn't that cool?
I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense, but I don't know how I feel about those priest dudes, man. They always smell like hard-boiled eggs and act weird. And plus, they always think they're above us morally. Like, I can't vibe with that, dog.
Well, I don't really know much about the priesthood, but I do know a guy who's an expert in that field.
Hi, my name's Pastor Rutherfield, and I specialize in priestology. Jimmy Fondle called me in to talk to you a little bit about the priesthood. So, the priesthood is rooted in servantdom. So, as Pope John Paul said, priests are men of mission. In the Old Testament, priests were actually more depicted as, they'd execute things, or, they'd sacrifice animals and stuff like that. But in the New Testament, they're actually just, representing and commemorating Jesus' sacrifice for us. So, as I said, priest is a servant to God's will. So, the priesthood was designed to bring people to God and God to people. It's not only a priest is a vocation, but it's the priest's occupation and obligation to bring God to the people. Priests are so unique because they're so dedicated to the faith. That's what makes them special. Wherever a priest goes, a special sort of faith goes along with them. That's why they're unlike the usual man like you and I. They're not the usual Joe. The priests are still men, just like us, men, mortal, and they make their mistakes too. So even though they might smell like hard-boiled eggs, and they still sin just like us, although they may specialize and their occupation might be the faith. They're men just like us.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. Still don't know why they smell like hard-boiled eggs. But sometimes my bros just never want to go to Mass. I mean, they always want to ride, but never go to Mass. I just don't know how I would have a sense of community without my brothers.
That is perfectly fine. Your bros don't have to like the Mass. At Mass, you have a community that is unrivaled by any other organization or religion. This community is built on the foundation of Christ's relationship with us. Even if your friends do not participate with you, for where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there am I with them.
The community's nice and all, but why should I go to Mass to have a meal? I never understand the Eucharist. It's such a tiny piece of bread. Why would I eat that when I could just, go to the store and get some nice bacon stone bread?
So Mr. Mr. Fondle seems to be out, so I'll be filling in for this scene. So the Eucharist is Christ in the bread and wine. It isn't just for show. This is literally the body and blood of Christ. Take this and eat of it. This is my body that will be given up for you. When we receive the Eucharist, we are literally consuming Jesus. This is as close to Him as we can possibly be. So this is the epitome of Jesus' sacrifice. Even 2,000 years later, He's a living, vibrant part of our Catholic Mass.
Alright, I can't even lie, bro. This Mass stuff is starting to sound pretty nice. The only thing I can't figure out is how does it relate to the rest of my life? What about riding with the bros in the week? How am I supposed to be thinking of the big G up there, How does Mass help prepare me for that? It's only 1 hour after all.
I understand you. How could that ever relate to Mass? Live life in God, in the Mass, through your everyday actions. Be the person that both you and others would like to see in the world. Go forth to love and serve the world. Thanks be to God.